Hello and welcome everybody, what is going on? So we're here today to do a preview for the match that's happening later on today between Bayern and Liverpool, which is going to be the first match, or our first match I should say, of the Audi Cup. It's going to be quite interesting considering obviously tomorrow it continues, and I always like the Audi Cup because it's just a lot of good teams playing a lot of good football usually, and then it's just a lot of good entertainment. So I just like the Audi Cup because although it's a pre-season friendly, it's usually the pre-season friendly where we do well at, just because we're playing at home, so that gives it an extra factor. So it's going to be quite a fun tournament, that's all I'm going to say. It's going to be quite a fun tournament, and the tournament is starting in about 30-40 minutes or so perfect timing. But yeah, I guess as a host I should always talk about the guest first. Let's talk about Liverpool. Liverpool are a team that has had a weird season. They've probably have one of the best attacks in the Premier League, but are very poor defensively. They've had problems, especially at left back, and in general they've had a few problems here and there. I think when Mane went out for them, I think he's called Mane. Yeah, when he went out for them, then they had massive problems and dropped down the table. They were pretty much a good contender until that point, until January, February, and that's when they essentially dropped off. And then it became a fight for the top 4 position instead. Whereas when he was there, they've looked very good. So they have a weird season, but they've strengthened their squad a little bit with Salah, who has apparently looked very good. He's very fast, and obviously he's very productive. He's a very good player. So they definitely have speed. They're quick, they're fast, they're rapid. Us, on the other hand, we have had a very good season last season, but a very poor pre-season, I'd say. So depending on how you view it, obviously right now we're going with the pre-season form into the match. So the question isn't so much of how good are we, but what team are we going to play, because I think that really dictates how good we're going to play. A few players came back and whatnot, and a few players might start. Now Ancelotti, he came out and he mentioned that Süle and Rudy might play, which means to me that they're gonna play. They're all gonna play a half each. So for me, Ribery and Robin will be back as well. He said they might play as well, which means that they probably will play knowing Ancelotti. So for me, it's just a question of how are we going to approach this game, because quite frankly, there are a few ways that we can approach it. I think the way we're going to do it is in the first half we're going to play in midfield. We're going to play Tolisso and say Rudy, and then in the second half it might be something like Sanchez and Javi, somewhere along those lines. I think that's basically what it's going to be. That like each half, somebody else, some of fringe players going to get basically 45 minutes. I think Sanchez and Rudy are really the 2 fringe players they're really the 2 that are competing for that extra midfield spot, the first sub essentially. And I think that's basically what Ancelotti's going to think about, because he knows that Sanchez have really performed quite well so far in pre-season, and he's even mentioned that Sanchez have really performed, that he's shown his qualities now in pre-season, which he didn't do during the season. So I think he just wants to see more right now. And Tolisso, obviously being such a good player, being so influential for us, he's only joined this season, but he's looked so good already. So I think that's going to be quite interesting to see just how Tolisso and Rudy, or Tolisso and Sanchez, whoever's going to play obviously in midfield, just to see how that develops, just to see if that's going to be an option that could potentially go further forward. Then you obviously have James and Müller, who also form a very good partnership. And I think with Ribery and Ron coming back, I see each of them play a half, and then perhaps James play a half as well. And I'm hoping that half is going to be with Müller, because that's usually when he performs best at, when he plays with Müller so far from what we've seen. But I also want him to get his first goal. That's the main thing. I think he needs to get his first goal more than anything, because he's always in this position. But he's had like 50 very good chances so far. Like normally in the season he'd scored 9 out of 10 times, but he's not really done that so far. So you might just blame it on pre-season, but quite frankly, I'm hoping he's going to get his goal, because I think once he gets his first goal, they're just going to come flying. So that's my take though. Defense, obviously, Süle, I want to see him play. I think he is an excellent player. one of the real standout players, one of the real standout young and upcoming defenders, but one of those that can actually play for like a first team for pretty much any team already. So he's just that good, and so he's just seen him play is what I want to see. Now, Carlo Ancelotti has also mentioned that Javi is not a midfielder. According to him, Javi will play in defense, which just means that, and he said that the only reason why Javi actually played in midfield was because of the lack of options. So basically, I expect Javi to play in defense, Hummels to play in defense, and then Sula perhaps to play in defense. So that, I think Sula will only play 45 minutes, so he might come in the second half and then play 45 minutes there. But we'll just see. We'll just see. All I'm saying is I think it's going to be a good game because Liverpool are so good attacking wise, but quite poor defensive wise. We in the preseason so far have been decent attacking wise, but very, very bad defensive wise. So this should make for a game with a lot of goals, and I like goals because goals are fun, especially in preseason when you're just hoping that one of your players, especially someone like James, gets a goal so he gets off and running. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was my take though. That's my thoughts, that's my preview, that's my hopes for the Audi Cup. That's my hopes for the match against Liverpool. I think it should make for an exciting game, potentially a 2-1 victory. Although I can honestly see it being like a 3-1 victory. The only thing that one might know is that Liverpool under Klopp have had a very, very, very good record against like very good teams. So just from that perspective, it might be a bit more harder than we thought, and that would make it for a much more exciting game. So we'll just see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm actually, you know what? I'm going for a 3-2 victory for us, hoping for a good game ultimately. And it should be fun. So let's see, though. Let's see. I'll see you guys next time, though, everyone. Have a nice day, and peace out.